Hello traders, it's Samurai Trader here. Welcome to session 156. In today's session you'll get to see me how I day trade the ES with Renko charts. So we'll get straight into it because there's a lot we want to cover in today's session. Now in this session I actually execute 11 trades for 9 wins. And I think there might have been a break even, but either way we had 9 wins out of this, and so it was a great day. So there are 2 recordings that I want to play back because I accidentally hit complete, and so I had to start recording the second half as well. As we get into this, so I will be playing back the actual recording. I'll walk you through step by step exactly what I'm doing. As always traders, there is a risk in trading. Please don't trade with money that you can't afford to lose. Stay on the simulator until you're consistently profitable. Now you'll also note when we get to the charts that I'm using what we call an overlay chart. I won't spend a lot of time on it, but an overlay chart is where I actually have 3 indicators on my general entry chart or trading chart from a higher time frame. Now what that can do is allow you, when you have a retracement, to then be trading back in the direction of that higher time frame. In fact, 2 losses I have, the only 2 I had there, the trade line was actually against me in both cases. And so there's a lot to be said in only waiting for those pristine trading times. So we'll go through a number of these, and actually I missed 2 fantastic trades because I took a break, and finally we wrapped it up. It was 3,452 in this session for 3 hours of trading. Now normally I finish my trading within about 30 to 50 minutes, maybe an hour. And that doesn't include sort of half an hour prep time. That is just reviewing my charts, etc. One of the things that I like to do each and every day is I've got all of my top setups and top charts all printed out in a folder, and I love to just go back through and review my charts. The reason being, trading really is nothing more than a pattern solving exercise. Now one may ask, if you're new to my channel, is this unusual? Well, we can see here that on Thursday the 26th of March, 2 days ago, I executed, and we had I actually fired off a few more trades there. I think I ended up having 7 trades here for 7 wins, and that was a fantastic trading day. Now with that being said, most of you that watch my videos know I'm very much into what I call POQ, power of quitting. However, there were so many great trends on this particular day that I fired off a few more trades, and what I don't like, you hit your target, which for me is 32.50 a day, hit your target, have a couple losses, and you wipe half of your net income out, and you've got to go and get those trades back in again. That's why I usually stop. Now yesterday, or I should say today, for Friday the 27th of March, I had 3 trades for 3 wins. Very straightforward trades, and so I'll do videos on those other ones at some other time. And as you're about to see, I'm recording this on Saturday the 28th of March, so this is all very recent price action. Now very quick advertisement, please stay with me because it's important. If you haven't already downloaded my ebook, The Truth About Day Trading, please see the link, the description link below. Better still, come and join me as a member for $297. I promise I'll be quick. You get all of my setups, my strategies, over 35 PowerPoints. There's hundreds of hours of training videos, and relax, you don't have to watch them all. I get you on and give you the best of the best trading strategies to follow. I mentioned indicators. Now I don't have indicators coded for every trading platform. However, I give you the settings that I use. So whether you're trading with TradingView or many other platforms, any good trading platform, you can replicate my chart on any good platform. Now I also have a bonus. Very quickly, once again, I don't have a script when I run these sessions. In the members area for $297 you have lifetime access, whether you trade with prop firms or you're looking at trading someone else's capital. This would have to be probably the most comprehensive scalpers and day traders members area for active real-time trading. And I have the bonus going at the moment where you can also attend 8 of my live coaching sessions. That is every Tuesday and Wednesday evening, 6 to 8 p.m. I run 2-hour sessions on how to trade the setups in these sessions. And by the way, I should point out this is March. 315 traders registered, and I also run a live trading room, and I've got 287 members in that room. And so I've been running these sessions for years. So on the coaching, and this is only since I started to keep the sessions on Google Drive, I'm up to month 94, and within each one of those folders there are PowerPoints and all the information, extra handouts that I refer to in the coaching sessions. Okay, enough. Make sure you join me. Oh, one thing I didn't say, make sure you subscribe to my channel to be kept up to date. Okay, so very quickly, my philosophy is get in, get out, get paid, and very much in line with this great movie called Moneyball. Rather than going for the home runs, and nothing more frustrating to see the market retrace after having what's looking like a great win, only to see it retrace, stop you out, and then continue. I've discovered over the years that we're better off getting in and getting out, getting in, getting out. That lowers my risk, means I can trade with a smaller account, I hold no overnight positions, and I can cut what may be a loss fairly quickly. So when it comes to that, you'll notice there that most of my trades are sort of anywhere from 1 to 2 ticks up to 10 to 15 ticks, because that works for me. Now, what is important is money management. Now, I do want to say this: if you're an experienced trader, you can trade what I'm about to show you with a $4,000 account, not $6,350. And the reason being, we can limit our stop loss, but the tighter a stop loss, you've got to really make sure that you've got a great trending market or a very high probability reversal. But generally, if you're a brand new trader and want to take it easy, start on the micro. 625 is required. We target a bit over $30 a day. In fact, I think here we're working on $32 a day. And let me go to this. And on 32 a day, if you go for just if you've got a 630 account, within 12 weeks potentially you've got the money there for 7,400 to roll over. Now all you need is 26 ticks a day. Now I'm going to show you how to do this in a moment, so stay with me. This is important that you've got a solid foundation and you approach it with a solid trading plan. Now once we roll over and we need in here 6,250, and we go for 3,000 a day, 325 a day, that's only 26 ticks. That's per contract. Now that's only 4 8-tick trades a day, and that would net us, that's after any losses, 380. What that means to us, in 10 weeks we've got the potential there for 10,000 a week, 13 weeks trading 15 contracts, 20 odd thousand a week. That's a true potential. Now the thing is, how do we do that? And that's what I'm about to show you. Now for the young guns here, you go and jump that up to 500 a day, okay, and that is 6 8-tick scalps. So I'm not talking about any runners here or larger moves. You're there in 6 weeks, and in 8 weeks you've got the potential of 25,000 a week. Traders, this is reality. Now as I play back the video, it's at normal speed. Sometimes I'll pause the video, and in fact I'll speed it along, because it took me, what was it, nearly 3 hours to hit my target. Very unusual for me to take that long. The market was very, very slow. Now I don't want to lose you here on this information, but I promise to share with you life-changing information when it comes to day trading. You see, what I look for on my charts is where are the pivot levels, open, high, low and close, major moving averages, intraday swings, and the current day's high and low. This may seem like a mouthful for a new trader, but trust me, after a couple of hours of training on this, you'll go, aha, now I get it, and it makes sense, because these act as price magnets. As professional traders, we trade into these levels. It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. And so after a few hours of trading, you'll get to understand how these works, and on almost any good trading platform, these will plot automatically for you, so you know exactly where these are. So the question is now, how do we achieve that 325 a day? So let me just make sure I've got the right, because as I mentioned, there are two recordings because I clicked on the wrong button. So just one moment. Okay, great. So this is the right button. So one thing I haven't done, traders, I just realized here, I just thought I actually showed these trades from today, that is Friday the 27th. We're now in Saturday, but and I was explaining them, but I just realized I didn't hit record. My goodness. Tell you what, so this is the trading session from this morning. It was actually from Friday, and what I was just ranting and raving about in the video, which I didn't hit record, this is at 3:30 in the morning, 3:30 Central Standard Time. London before daylight savings opens at 3 a.m. It's about to, after this weekend, I think it reopens at 2 a.m. Central Standard Time. Now the markets, you can trade 23 hours a day. You don't have to be trading at this time. So today, as I showed you in the slide earlier, very simple, 3 for 3, hit my target, 3556. Now what I was pointing out earlier in the video, which I failed to record, was just to show you that back, and here I was running my class, so you'll find the charts already set up as I'm explaining the setups to members. But this is 5:30 Central Standard Time, when after the markets reopened. We don't trade these flat zones. Okay, we've got very simple rule we use there, but then the markets take off. In other words, there's some fantastic trading to be had, basically 23 hours a day, traders. There really is. And so you can hold down a job, get home, and then start trading. But one thing I did say in that, which I need to repeat, you can see here I'm trading a 4-tick chart, sorry, a 2-tick chart. During New York hours, because of the speed of the market, we're usually trading a 4-tick Renko, which means a larger account size requirement. But of course, if you don't have the funds, remember, we're risk managers. Risk management is number one in what we do. You can always trade micros as you build your account, as I showed you earlier. And by the way, you can go to the description link below and download that compound table. And how that compound table works, it only has you start trading a second contract each time you double your money. Very realistic. So here, even though this shows a 2-tick, during the New York hours, I'd be increasing my time frame. Hopefully that makes sense. Let's now get back to this video, which I'd already gone through, but I didn't hit record. So first of all, this is actually earlier in the evening on this day. I think this is 3 or 4 days ago. And so this was at 9:41, 21:41 in the evening. Now I've taken a reversal trade just here, and this is what I call a T3, and the market's very quiet. That there, for an example, was 30 minutes of price action just there, so very quiet. And this is also what I call an overlay chart. See that black line and where it turns white? What that is, and this red turns blue, they're indicators from a higher time frame. So I can be simply looking for retracements and trading back in the direction of the higher time frame. I don't want to get too involved in this, in explaining this. After an hour, when we don't use overlays all the time, some of my members absolutely love them. and you can just use, like here, this is a 1 tick, you can just use a standard just a standard chart like you see here in front of me. By the way, I think I mentioned it earlier, I love the 1 tick chart when it's tradable. And what do I mean by when it's tradable? When it's slow enough. So here I've got generally fixed targets, and once again, get in, get out, get paid. Now up here I'm expecting resistance up here or up here. Why? We get it every day, and it's basically you just know most of the time where the market's going to turn. Why? Because it's a pattern, and patterns are based on human behavior. And a pullback to this major EMA, we see traders every day expect to bounce. It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Now just here I've got an order here to sell 10, and this is very mechanical with my approach here. That is, I'm looking at something on a higher time frame which gives me this exact entry point. Now I'll move this along, and when I do get filled, by the way, just down below, this is called a pivot, a Camarilla pivot, and that's a pivot. See how you go up there and bounce off these? Remember, pivots are a self-fulfilling prophecy, because as professional traders we trade into them, trade off them every day. So once I get filled here, I really tighten my stop as I go down to that level. Now I'll quickly move this along because there's 2 videos, because actually this is early in the evening, and then I actually accidentally hit what's it called, the button stop recording. Okay, and the recording stopped. Now just to explain exactly what's happened here, I've now locked in 3 ticks. I brought my stop loss down, which was as high as 10 ticks, brought it down because there's a very good chance I can get a bounce. Now just here, I would even be better if I actually moved and covered at the pivot, quite frankly. But what can happen sometimes, it can pop and head straight down. Now I'm at break even, my stop is very tight, but that's also for a good reason, because, and I can turn the camera back on again now, because oops, let me go back to that recording. Where are you? There we are. Because we could bounce, or we could pop through and come down and hit this low. Now I'd increase my target. Why down here? Down at the swing low. Everything's looking good with my trigger line, my trade line, bit of mixture, a little, on the higher time frame, got a couple of things against me, but overall I've got a good downtrend. Okay, and I've exited the trade. Now for members watching, by the way, just there, you did have a T10, so if you weren't in that one, you could have jumped in. And I'm going to fast forward this here, and what I've got there, a bird in the hand, meaning look, I'm better off picking up 3 or 4 ticks per contract. Now that's basically $375 to $500 on 10 contracts. Now I've shorted again. Now what I'm looking at here, this is actually, I took this for members watching, is based upon a Renko tail. Okay, so I was looking at the Renko tail, and I knew there's a pretty good chance I was going to get down to this lower level. So that's what I'm really looking for. And so let me just move this along a little. It's always risky at pivots, and because my target is below this level, we'll see whether we get a bounce or whether I push through. You'll just be amazed at how often when we come down to major swing points, how often we actually bounce off these points. And I'd rather, and see just there, now we're still a tick away from it, but we just found a wee bit of support here at the moment. So come on, get through here just to move this along. So this is good. Okay, so now I get through, it's popped through, and I'm filled. Okay, now it's hard for you to see there, but we're up at that stage about 2800, and this is at 2243. And so at that stage I decided to have a rest for a while and stop trading until, whoops, what's that? Oh, I know what I've done. I've taken a screenshot. Let me just get rid of that. Let's go to the next video. Okay, so on this next video, this is a continuation. Now this is where then I had two losses, and it's hard for you to see here, and I wish it would. Let me see if I can, is there a way I can get rid of that? No, let me turn the camera off again. It doesn't matter for some reason. Look, it might be hard for you to see there, but down the bottom there is the trade line is against those two trades. Now I did have a bet the farm at this stage as well for members watching. However, note how flat we were at this stage. Now this really set me back because I was up 2,800 and all of a sudden I had two full stop outs, so I was not happy. I then took a few minutes off and missed these two beautiful setups afterwards, which would have put me right back in the green and probably wrapped up my trading day. But anyway, one thing you've got to learn to think in probabilities of 20 trades. The individual trade means nothing. Here, if I have two trades that are losses in a row, what I'll do is wait for a whole new trend, because I don't want to have 3 or 4. The other thing here is we never ever risk any more than 2% in a trade, and this is where greed comes into it. You know, traders want to risk 5% and they wonder. See, so many traders are desperate for an income, but what happens in real life trading, we tend to bring our life challenges to our trading. If you're impulsive, if you're in dire straits financially and fearful, you bring all of these emotions to your trading, and we've got to harness those. Up here I've got this is probably a T3 reversal again, something that I recommend all new traders avoid initially. And I need to turn that camera off again because it's hiding my thing there. So down here where note here I've gone the break even. There's some pivots here which I might bounce off, so I'm really not sure if I'm going to bounce off those pivots at this stage, but I would be planning. And so we're still running live here, and see how I'm ticking away here. And this is where I have all the time, do we take profits there, or do we wait and see where my target is? Look, my target's on the other side of the pivots, and that can be very hard to get through sometimes, or a lot of the time. So it's I was just about to say, it's an argument I have with myself all the time, is that do I just pick up 1,000 here instead of 1,250? I might just move this along because let's just see what happens here, and we're out of that. Okay, so there I took profits, and now I've got another potential setup here. Now note where my order is up here, my buy stop order. That is based upon something I'm watching on my higher time frame. See that green line up there? That is the current day's high as well. That makes a fantastic price magnet. See traders, we love to go up there and retest our highs at least twice. So I'm just moving this along. Now note here, we got filled. I've gone the break even. I locked a couple of ticks in. Okay, now a tick is $12.50, so I've locked in $25 a contract. And just to say this, even though I've locked that in, there's no guarantee I'll walk away with $25 a contract less your commission. The reason being, when it comes down and hits your stop, it becomes a market order, and in fast markets it can sometimes, where you're hoping you get 2 ticks, you might only get 1 tick, etc. These are just some of the realities of trading. Now I want you to notice here, my target is 2 ticks above that high, and so no guarantee we'll hit that. So this is where I may, and here I'm locking some profit in because I'm a little concerned about that. So there I'm thinking about this, what do I do? So I'm weighing it up at this stage. So let me move this along so you can see when and what I do. So I'm back to locking 2 ticks in. and I haven't watched this, so I can't remember. This is important. So here I'm up to this high of day now. See this over here, this is called my anchor chart 1. I've got some major divergence setting up just here, major divergence. See that black line? That black line is an EMA from a very high time frame. It's incredible how that gives us support resistance. So here I am looking at going full screen again. It's a recording, silly. Okay, so just here I've got a major divergence trade setting up. Now I recommend all new traders, you don't trade divergence initially, and there's tons of other trades for you to go for, but you still need to learn what divergence is, because you've got to be careful you don't take, if you've got a major divergence trade, that you don't then take a with trend trade a few minutes later. So I'm just waiting here to get filled, and I might just move this along. So there, I'd say I must have brought my stop down and exited that, and now I'm looking at going short again based upon that big double top I had, and that's what that pattern was a double top, major divergence. It hadn't qualified, by the way. So here I'm just looking for a sell opportunity here. So now I'm in the trade. My stop is 1 tick. Now I like to see my stop loss 1 tick below the swing, 1 tick above from where I enter. You can also see just here that my target traders is just on the other side of this pivot again. Now here I'm just pointing out that double top again with divergence. I call them T7s, by the way. I've just got different codes because we've got a whole basket full of different setups at kick butt. Now I've been day trading now for 28 years. I've got thousands of hours of experience of screen time under my belt, and I've just found, and that's a T10 as well, so I've just found these pristine setups. But as a new trader, if you're brand new, you focus on my 2 key setups to begin with, and as time goes on, like a tradesman with a box full of tools, you can add other setups to your repertoire. Now here we're coming down, we're in this particular trade. I'm looking over my anchor chart. Now by the way, normally I'd be targeting the gold on the anchor chart 1. We've gone the break even. How far can we get? Now just remember, you've got a pivot here as well. Now I'm surprised I'm not locking in a little more profit yet. Here we go. And the reason being, very good chance I could bounce off that pivot. Now note my trade line just here. That is screaming, along with that, this red line here, look for shorts, because on your higher time frame it's screaming shorts. Now as I mentioned, I don't have all of my indicators for every trading platform, but what you're seeing here, you can set up exactly the same or almost exactly the same on any good trading platform, because I used NinjaTrader and TradeStation. Well, I used to use TradeStation solely on NinjaTrader now, but I've got all the indicator settings which I provide you so you can replicate this. Right, moving right along here. Okay, so I've just taken this trade here. We call this a T20-1. It's also, for members watching, I think a T10 as well. And don't worry about the code names, traders. The bottom line is it's a very high probability trade. Look at the indicators on the higher time frame, how they're all in a downtrend. What I've effectively done here, looking for retracements and then trade entries in the direction of that time frame. Wee bit of a bounce at the pivot, not unexpected. Now we've come through and I've hit my target. Now what happens from there? I'm just going to move this along because that's trade 10. So I think I fired off 11 trades, so there must be one more trade here now, and see how this took off. Now just on this point, traders, what about trailing? Like here you could have picked up your whole day's profit. You can do that I prefer to get in and get out. That works better for me, but some traders really like trailing, and that will work well for you. Okay, so just here I can already tell you this is what I call a T3 reversal. Okay, so a T3, I've got a double T3. Members watching this, it's a double T3, very high probability trade. We've now gone long here. Okay, so just excuse the lag in the video. Here we are. It's also a pivot bounce. When you bounce off pivots, and I just got stopped on that trade. Okay, so that was a stop out. So in fact, this is I'm stopped on that one. So in fact, it's actually 3 losses, not 2 losses, because that was a loss. I had 2 there prior to that, so I'm gonna have to adjust that by the way. So traders, I apologize. I thought it was actually 11 trades for 3 losses. I just got stopped. Now here is also a great explanation just there. That is or a great example. Counter trend trading is harder. It's not as good as trading with the trend. Now what I've fired off here is a trend trade just here. It's a slingshot, what I call a slingshot. So traders, stick with the trend. You'll hear me say regularly, follow the gold. Okay, and let's just quickly play this here. So I'll have to adjust that. So 3 losses, so never mind. So it was actually yeah, 3 losses I had. Maybe one of those before was a break even. I don't think so. Anyway, traders, as I said, my videos are raw, real and unedited, and what I'm pointing out there is the trend then continues. So traders, this is not rocket science. What you need is simply to learn, okay, is to be trained step by step how to identify the highest probability setups. It's not difficult. It just means putting some time in and starting off just with 1 or 2 key setups, trend following setups, learning how to watch the retracements and then the trend continuations. And that's my job, is to teach you. Now, as I mentioned, included in the Day Traders Fast Track program, where you have lifetime access, there are hundreds of handouts. I direct you in my introduction video where to start. If you're brand new, or if perhaps trading hasn't been good to you, I'm teaching you where to start there. You also get those 8 2-hour sessions. You have lifetime access to the recordings. You can also type in questions, so you can join using the description link below. But traders, this is not rocket science. Okay, once you understand the exact setup, once you understand your entry, where to put your stops and where to exit, I give you a very, what's the word for it, I give you the blueprint that you need to follow. Traders, you can do this. You really can, with the right training and giving yourself a wee bit of time. So come and join me. Thank you, traders. I'll see you in the next video. Make sure you subscribe to my channel. Thanks, traders.